Hey there, everyone. It's Kelly Schaefer here with the Concierge Academy, and I am bringing a fun video to you today because I get a lot of people who want to know about starting their business and how people get their first clients. And, everybody's story is different. I'll tell you my story, and then I have three of my guests here who are all current members of the Fully Booked Business Club, and they all have very unique stories as well. And I want them to tell you how they got their first client, where that first client came from, and what that first job looked like. So buckle up. I hope you enjoy this session. Okay. So I'm going to tell you real quick about my very first client. My very first client, I was just telling people on social media. I didn't have a Facebook page or anything. I just had my personal Facebook, and I was telling people I was starting this business. I didn't even know anything really specifically about what I was doing yet. And my first paid job was somebody I used to work with some 20 plus years before that, a friend from the dietary department of Northeastern Hospital. She reached out to me and asked me to write a resume for her boyfriend who was looking for a new job. I promptly was like, yes, because I can do all the things. I took that client on. I helped write a resume. It took me like 5 hours, and I asked my neighbor next door to help me because I honestly had not written a resume in probably 10 years. So that was my first client experience. Not quite a right fit client. I did say yes because, like all of us, we just want to say yes to that first thing. And then my first real client was a client that I got through the Chamber of Commerce's website, which is unheard of, but it was a husband and wife. They were in their early 30s. They both had demanding jobs. He ran a pharmaceutical company, and she traveled to California every week, 4 days out of the week. And they went to the Chamber of Commerce's website looking for help to have somebody be at their house to have their pool table delivered. And when they called me, I was happier than a pig in poo. So excited to get my first real concierge client. And she and he became my first clients, Jamie and Brian. And they were my clients for years after that. And so that's how I got my first client. That was my first client gig. And now I want to turn it over to Jennifer. So, and Jennifer has a really unique story too. So if you're ever if you have a business and you're transitioning your business, or you're shifting from one business model to the next, or one niche to the next, or one type of services to the next, Jennifer's story will be really powerful for you. So, Jennifer.
Yeah, so I'm Jennifer. I founded Sought After Spaces in 2022. We are primarily started doing staging, decorating, and organization, focused on decluttering spaces. So in 2024, I found Kelly and the idea of concierge services and thought that was a really great way for me to use the skills that I already had and the network that I had. So my first client in organization came from Facebook ads, and I did a office redesign for her husband as a gift. And she actually ended up being my first concierge client when I started offering concierge services to have me prepare individual portion freezer meals for her husband. So it's funny how that worked out.
Yeah, so fun. So, if you had one piece of advice you would give anybody just starting out, what would you say?
I would say it's definitely having those connections and making sure that you have having strong relationships is really important. So definitely do your best to get out there and make connections.
Yeah. And, this is a personal service, and the best way to make personal connections is to not be behind your computer. And I know a lot of us use social media, but I believe that social media shouldn't be the only strategy that you use. You still need to be front facing. So such a
Yeah.
great story. Yeah. All right, Miss Lola.
Hi. I first got my first client through Facebook, private Facebook group. which is really surprising. But before that, I would say I was posting good content related to lifestyle for about 2 years. And I gained a lot of followers and respect in my community. And one day I was talking to a mother whom I used to nanny for her kids. Now they're 10. I was sharing with her that I wanted to extend caring for seniors, and she saw an ad one day, and this lady was desperate to have someone care for her mom so she could go on vacation. Her mom injured herself and is recuperating in her home. So she linked me the ad per se, and I responded with a miniature spill that I previously made. I messaged her on Messenger, introduced myself, and we did a Zoom meeting. I met with her in person, and I got hired. And the rest is history. It's been such a fun experience, and I would say if I was to define an ideal client, it is definitely an ideal family that I was looking for. So yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, so it's funny how you had already just been showing up in the world, just connecting with people in a Facebook community, not specifically selling your services, just more just you were just there connecting, being a human, right?
Mhm.
Building relationships through this community, and then started your business, let some people know about it, and then somebody saw it, and because you were clear on what it was that you were doing, somebody saw this other person looking for help, and then that person
Mhm.
was able to just connect the two dots, and then
Yeah,
you ended up with your client. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think people, it's a combination. I don't want to say it's luck because it's not really luck. It is just you just keep showing up and being present and advocating for your business and talking about your business and who you help and what you do. And especially the more passionate you are about it, other people can read, feel, and like just experience your passion, that they just want to like connect people, or you become the go-to person. So
Mhm.
it's funny you talk about the in the Facebook community. So just today I am part of a Facebook community for the community that we live in, specifically where our beach house is. It is a community Facebook group. So only
Mhm.
people who live in the community can be in there, and my cat and my dog are about to be fighting, and we're just going to keep this on video. Yeah, there's Bruce Wayne Kitty. It is after 5 and he wants his food, and Benji is ticked off because Bruce wants my attention. It's like having children, but different. So anyway, inside the group today, somebody went on and it was just very specific. He was like, if you need help with your garage, I am the person. He's like, if the garage doesn't close, I help with this. If it doesn't this, I help with that. If you need a new door, I do that. If the opener's not working, I help you with that. Super clear. So now I know if I ever, and our garage is always like doing stupid stuff because of the ocean air down here makes the track really terrible. Now I know who to call
Mhm. Mhm.
specifically. There's a garage guy, right? Versus
Yeah.
somebody saying, "Oh, if you ever need help with stuff around your house, I might be the one to call." And that doesn't land in my brain as much, but because of that specificity, like I know who I'm calling now when I have to have the garage fixed. All right.
Yeah.
And now, Miss Michelle, tell us. So when you came into Fully Booked, you already had clients,
Mhm.
and now you're learning how to ramp up your business through the
Yes.
marketing.
Yes.
But you did a lot of things right in the beginning by yourself. And so you were out, you joined networking groups, you were talking to people. So tell everyone how you got your first client and what your first client was and what your that first gig was.
Okay, so I got my first client through a networking group that I was a part of, um, one that we meet weekly. So the gentleman placed people in assisted living facilities. He would help them find a facility that worked for them. And he connected me with a mover in a different location. The couple was selling their home and moving into an assisted living facility in my location. And it was quite a distance. So the move manager really didn't want to come down here. So she was looking for somebody down here. So he recommended me to her. And so I was hired and I waited at the assisted living facility for the movers to come. And they unloaded all of the furniture and the boxes and everything. And I unpacked everything before the couple came. So when they arrived, everything was done. The bed was made, the dishes were in the cupboard. Everything that they had was unpacked and ready to go, clothes hanging in the closet. So they just came in and it was done. It was all done for them. So that was my very first paying client. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
you all
exciting.
had better first paying clients than my resume. For sure. What was I even thinking? But so you were you were in a networking group, and there was
Mhm.
somebody in that group that was another business owner who made the connection for you to this moving company
Yes.
who had the referral for you. So it was like
Yes.
it's like what do they say, like my cousin 3 times removed or something? This is like your referral 3 times removed, kind of.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. So I'm curious, did that client, was that like a one-time job, or did you end up working with those clients again later?
In all honesty, it was a one-time job. Unfortunately, the assisted living facility wanted me there with them on a regular basis, and they were quite upset when the sons had decided that their parents didn't need any help going
Mm,
forward.
mm,
So the assisted living facility actually texted me and they didn't understand why I was not coming back. And I
mm.
stated because the sons felt their parents were fine and I could not force myself to be there. So that was the end of it. And I was actually relieved, not because of the couple, but because the sons were making it pretty difficult.
Yeah, yeah. So that
Yeah,
wouldn't have been a great
unfortunately.
relationship long term, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that happens. Like sometimes, so ideally, when you have clients, the hope is that they will become clients that reuse your services over and over, right? Even like
Yes.
with Jennifer, her first organizing client actually also became her first concierge client. They used her over and over because you build that know, like, and trust. And then there are other times when it is just purely going to be more of a one-time job, a one-time project, for a variety of different reasons. And family dynamics definitely do play into that as well. I had a very similar situation with a woman who had lived at home. And interesting was we did not know that she had any children. When I met her in person, she said she had no children. So I believe she had no children until a daughter from Canada one day called to tell me that she was her daughter from Canada. And I was like, hi, daughter from Canada. And because mom had her own desires of life, and it did not include daughter in Canada. And then we visited with her often, and then her health really took a turn, and she wasn't safe at home anymore. So she went into it's a different type of environment. It's sort of like apartment living, but it's more like in a house where everybody has like their own room, and it's a much smaller environment. So she went there, and it was a similar situation where now the daughter was now taking over her finances, mom's finances, and the daughter didn't think it was necessary to have us come in anymore because she had care. She had people there all the time. So she didn't see the value in it at the time. And so we know that there was still value there because it was having visits from somebody that she still knew, because it started with me, and then her primary concierge became one of my team, Anne. And then after she moved in, Anne still actually went back a couple times just to check on her, make sure she was okay. Pro bono, right? Because that's what we do sometimes.
Yes.
And then another situation where I had the complete similar, but it changed later, where I was brought in for, it was two women who were best friends. They were older women who both lived, they had their own apartments in independent, they lived together in independent living. One was getting sicker, so they moved them, because they were so close knit, they moved them together into into assisted living, and gave them rooms next door, and had an adjoining door that they just took the door off so that they could go back and forth for the two of them. And then I would go and I would visit the two, and then one ended up she passed away unexpectedly. The one who was more alert and who appeared healthier, she passed away unexpectedly. And then the other woman who was her best friend, she had really severe dementia, and they put her in full personal care. So when she went to full personal care, the power of attorney was like, oh, I don't think we need you anymore. You know, she's got 24/7 nurses and aides and everything over there. And then it was about a year later that they called me back up, because I stayed in communication with them. And about a year later, they called me back up and said, look, you know, we don't have eyes on her. Like, we only get these care reports that we get once a month. We don't really know how she's doing. We don't know if she has everything she needs. You know, what do you suggest? And so I suggested going in once or twice a week. And so that's what we did, went in twice a week. And then that continued on. And then we did a lot of other things. Like, she never knew who we really were because of her dementia. But every time one of us was there with her, she participated more. She ate better. She was nicer to the nurses. She was just in a better demeanor. We bought her clothes and so forth. And that relationship stayed for, I think it was about 4 or 5 more years, until she eventually passed away during lockdowns and in COVID. She passed away at the nursing home. So, and the power of attorney reached out and just sent like such a beautiful letter thanking me and the team and everything for all those years. So it can always work out different ways.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So real quick, last little nuggets here so we can wrap up. Lola, if you had one thing that you would tell somebody that's starting out to do, what would you tell them to do?
Believe in yourself.
Perfect. Yes, because when you believe in you,
yeah,
they'll believe in you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good. So simple, yet so hard sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Michelle, what would you say?
I would say it's really important when you're building to reach out and, you know, join some groups. You need the human connection. You're not going to find it on Facebook or through a website. So that really should be one of the very first things that you do.
Yeah, really good. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being with me here today, and we'll see you on the next episode. If this video was helpful, let us know down in the comments. If you loved what you heard from one of our participants today, let us know in the comments too, so that they can see the love that you all have and you want to share with them. All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.